The arsenals of the U.S. Air Force's F-15E Strike Eagle and F-15EX Eagle II combat jets look set to grow with the addition of stealthy AGM-158C long-range, anti-ship missiles LRASM, F-15ES and X, armed with LRASMS, would give the Air Force a major boost in its ability to engage enemy warships, which could be particularly valuable in any future high-end fight in the Pacific against China. The incorporation of new long-range strike capabilities across various combat platforms has become a priority for the United States Armed Forces. A potential conflict in the Asia-Pacific region, with the People's Republic of China as the main adversary, has prompted strategic shifts in U.S. planning over recent years. This hypothetical high-intensity conflict, characterized by operational environments saturated with air defense systems, ground attack systems, and electronic warfare, necessitates combat aircraft to operate in new security settings. The latest solicitation, the Naval Air Systems Command, NAVAIR, indicates the intent to integrate AGM-158C long-range anti-ship missiles, LRASM, into the U.S. Air Force's new F-15EX Eagle II strike fighters and F-15E Strike Eagles. The AGM-158C-1 is the main subvariant of the LRASM in production now. An extended-range version of the missile, the AGM-158C-3, able to fly roughly twice as far, around 600 miles versus 200 to 300 miles based on available information, which will also feature other improvements, is now in development. In recent years, the U.S. Air Force has begun incorporating the first batches of its new F-15EX Eagle II fighters. These aircraft feature various enhancements, making them among the most capable platforms in the service. These enhancements include compatibility with the latest variants of the Sidewinder and AMRAAM air-to-air missile families, ground attack missiles such as the JASSM, and guided munitions. Nevertheless, to meet operational demands, USAF fighters require anti-surface combat capabilities centered on the AGM-158C long-range anti-ship missile LRASM. This missile is currently employed by the U.S. Navy's FA-18EF Super Hornet fighters and the U.S. Air Force's B-1 bombers. In the future, the LRASM is also slated for integration with F-35C fighters deployed from U.S. aircraft carriers. According to recent information from NAVAIR, the command has initiated negotiations with Lockheed Martin to conduct integration studies and tests for the AGM-158C-1 missiles on the F-15EX Eagle II and F-15E platforms. Integrating the AGM-158C now onto Air Force F-15E and EX makes good sense. The Strike Eagle and other F-15 variants in that extended family can employ non-stealthy and far shorter-ranged Harpoon anti-ship missiles, but it's unclear if the Air Force has those weapons available for F-15E units now, and/or if they actively train to employ them. The Air Force's Strike Eagles are already a platform of choice for employing members of the AGM-158 Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missile family on air-launched land attack cruise missiles from which the LRASM was derived. The EX has demonstrated its ability to employ JASSMs as well. However, the Navy did not disclose the exact timeline for awarding this contract, and as a result, the timeline for integrating the AGM-158C-1 onto these fighter jets also remains unclear. The F-15E and F-15EX fighter jets are well known for their impressive payload capacity, which allows them to carry substantial amounts of munitions. This capability would enable both jets to transport a large number of AGM-158C missiles and would greatly enhance their ability to target maritime threats. In fact, in 2021, a U.S. Air Force F-15E Strike Eagle was observed loaded up with 5 AGM-158 Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missiles, JASSMS. Moreover, the Air Force's Strike Eagles have long been a preferred platform for launching various AGM-158 Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missile family members, from which the LRASM was derived. The F-15EX has also demonstrated its ability to carry and employ JASSMs. That being said, the LRASM would provide a major upgrade by offering greater range and stealth for maritime operations. The ability to engage maritime targets effectively will be crucial if tensions between Washington and Beijing escalate. Standoff weapons like the LRASM would allow U.S. aircraft to strike enemy warships from greater distances, minimizing their exposure to hostile air defenses. Integrating LRASMs onto F-15EAs and Xs would significantly boost the Air Force's ability to target enemy naval assets, making them invaluable in a potential high-intensity conflict in the Pacific, particularly against China. These capabilities would give the U.S. an edge in countering China's expanding naval power. The Chinese are keenly aware of this evolving threat. The Eurasian Times recently reported that Chinese scientists conducted a war game simulating a U.S. military barrage of stealthy LRASMs targeting a Chinese aircraft carrier strike group. Beijing understands the critical need to assess U.S. weapons like the LRASM to ensure its readiness for both defensive and offensive operations in the region. The LRASM is not a completely new design, but an advanced evolution of earlier missile technologies. Its roots can be traced back to the AGM-158A Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missile JSSM, first deployed by the U.S. Air Force in 2003. This evolutionary approach has allowed the LRASM to inherit proven capabilities. The missile is specifically designed with survivability as a priority. The LRASM features a stealthy design and autonomous route planning enabled by an onboard electronic support measures ESM suite. This allows the missile to reroute mid-flight if enemy defenses are detected and use radio frequency emissions to locate and engage targets with precision. In its terminal flight phase, the missile uses a passive imaging infrared sensor which avoids detection by enemy radar and is immune to jamming while visually identifying and striking the most vulnerable parts of its target. One of the LRASM's defining abilities is its precision in targeting specific sections of a ship. For example, it can aim for critical components like an aircraft carrier's island structure or specific sides of a vessel. This precision becomes important in scenarios involving China's aircraft carriers, where striking the starboard side elevators could render their flight operations inoperable by halting the movement of aircraft between the hangar and flight deck. An onboard data link also means AGM-158Cs can receive additional threat updates from off-board sources as they head toward their targets, as well as work cooperatively with other LRASMs for more coordinated strikes. F-15EAs and F-15EXs, which also have significant combat range, thanks in part to conformal fuel tanks and large internal fuel load, armed with LRASM, would also increase the U.S. military's overall capacity to launch aerial anti-ship strikes across large swathes of a future battlespace. This could be particularly important in a future major conflict in the Pacific with China's People's Liberation Army, PLA, which continues to add larger and otherwise more modern surface warships to its already substantial combat fleets. Launch capacity is only one part of the equation, and there are growing concerns about the adequacy of American stockpiles of standoff munitions like the AGM-158C and the ability to replenish them during a sustained fight. LRASM is one of a number of weapons the U.S. military is looking to buy significantly more of going forward, and Lockheed Martin is taking steps to ramp up production. If you enjoy content like this, please go ahead and like and subscribe to this video because I appreciate all your support.